The Detroit Lions' almost 53-man roster is set. We're going to talk about it. Brad Holmes joining me now to break it all down. And something that you said this morning to reporters, they asked you, you've got 53 spots. You didn't fill them all. You filled 50 of them to start.
Yeah.
And you said, we're not going to give the first 3 out roster spots if they didn't make the team.
Yeah.
That seems to speak volumes of where this team is at right now compared to prior years. What volume does it speak?
Last year, I think I said we got down to 52, and that was the first year that we did that. And it's like, okay, we're getting, and then it's like, we're down to 50, and it's like, so it speaks volumes that we're getting better and better and better. And it's a testament for everybody across the board. It's the players that we're bringing in and the amazing coaches that we have that are getting those players developed and teaching them and up to speed. So when I looked at it, like, it wasn't like a shocker, like me and Dan were like, oh, we were like, it's 50. That's it. That was it. And the more and more we said at 50, the more I got excited. I was like, man, I actually love that. I actually love we got 3 extra spots. And I think we're the only team in the league that we're sitting at 50, and I like that even more now. But I don't think this is the last time that you're going to see this.
What message does that send that not everyone's going to make this team even when we have the spots open?
There's a standard. There's a standard. And I think that's why we've gotten to this point, is because we've never compromised that standard since day one. Even we did not have the talent that we have now and all that, we never compromised. I think it sends a clear message of that.
When would you like to get to the 53?
It could be at any time. Again, it could be today. It could be next week. It could be, I like it, actually. I'm not saying that I won't feel it or we won't feel it, but it's cool flexibility because you know the players that you have, and you still got an open spot. And the waiver wire is very active right now. Even after the initial cut down, there's still moving parts to go along. So you never know when that little nugget of gold is going to come across, and you got that gold coin in your back pocket to use. You
and Coach Campbell always described as, I'll say it, 2 peas in a pod. You don't differ from mentality really at all. Was there a decision you two had to work to get closer together on coming into these roster cuts? We're pretty aligned with, I can't think of one that and again, I think that was a little bit easier just because we had 50. But I did think, because I don't really know who he has as in, and he doesn't really know who I have as in as it's going along. Really? We don't meet every single day on who's in or who's out. And so we kind of let training camp play out. And then when it gets towards the end, then that's when we start looking at it because we know it's coming up. So when the first time we really truly met on it, when we knew it was coming up, it was pretty identical. What was the difficulty in parting with quarterback Hendon Hooker, who you invested a 3rd-round pick in and a couple of seasons in? We brought competition in. He didn't back down from the competition. There was some back and forth in practice. Obviously, Kyle fared better in the games. The thing about the Hendon Hooker situation is I still think that he's got some more growth left in him, and I wish him the best. But I think not enough has been said about Kyle and all the great things that he did. I mean, he came in and he won the job. And I think one of the coolest things is I think what he did from a production standpoint, making plays, we already knew he could do that. He's shown that on tape with all the years that he's played. But after that Hall of Fame game, how he responded after that Hall of Fame game, after those turnovers, that was the most impressive play to me that he made all camp. Campbell said he trusts Kyle Allen to be the backup for this team. There's 2 quarterbacks on the team. We were thinking, are there going to be 3 quarterbacks? So are there plans to sign another quarterback to the practice squad? Yeah, we're still working our way through that. We did a lot of work in the preseason to see how a lot of these guys were going to shake. I thought we had another plan in place that didn't fall through, so that's why you got to just keep things close to the vest because you never know until it happens. But we're still working through that actively. Again, it could happen today, it could happen tomorrow. We will add another quarterback. Campbell said this was the deepest wide receiver room he's had since you guys have been in Detroit. 3 rookies made sure that they were on your radars all of training camp with Isaac Tesla, Dominic Lovett, the undrafted guy, Jackson Meeks. How much tougher did they make your decision on who to keep on the active roster?
It changed the preseason scouting process a little bit in terms of, okay, can we add this wide receiver, at final cut downs? Can we add, it was kind of like, look, we're already kind of chopped full. Let's just kind of see, are we going to keep 6? Are we going to keep 7? Are we going to keep, so that was really the only decision I was made. But I do think the guys that we chose, I think those were the guys that made it, and that's excluding the Tim Patrick trade, because he initially made it too, but just kind of worked out something that was good for both parties.
For Tim Patrick, he's a veteran. Do you consult him before a trade like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just out of respect for him. Again, I mean, I'd do that for any player, but for him in particular, because he loved Detroit so much and he loved this team, and there was a reason why we wanted him back, reason why he wanted to come back. Him and Jared have a great relationship. They have great chemistry. So yeah, obviously you talk with him and kind of just make sure that it's amicable and everybody's on the same page, and that's what happened.
Offensive linemen, Tate Ratledge and Christian Mahogany, they had to take some big leaps here. How did that change how you approach the offensive line in terms of the depth rotation?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, because you never quite fully know. You have high hopes and expectations, but all through training camp, we were very intensely looking at that group right there and say, man, maybe we need to bring in another veteran to compete with the young, so we're looking at that, but they were holding their own. And I just think that once we got that combination settled with Graham in the middle with all his experience, I think it helped, stabilize and helped, Christian and Tate as well, to have a guy that knows the communication, that can bark all the calls, and you have that confidence. And I think that we just felt very, very good about it. So right now, at this moment right now, it feels really, really good. But yeah, it did, from a depth standpoint, having a guy like Yodi that's played a lot of football for us, has been called up, been on practice squad, has made it. He started for us, to have him. He's another one that I don't think I mentioned in there that I thought had a really good camp, and he's another one that made a leap. You're going to need those depth guys at some point, unfortunately, and so he's the one that I'm glad we have.
Defensively on the back end, this year you are not leaning on a rookie to step up and fill a starting role for the first time in a few seasons. You opted for Rock Yassin and Avonte Maddox.
Yeah.
Between them, 13 years of the NFL combined. They play cornerback. You asked them to play safety this training camp. How much did their flexibility and versatility affect the decisions you made for the rest of the roster? Because maybe you didn't have to go that deep in the secondary. Yeah,
no, that's a good question, Danny. It actually did. It actually opened us up. Now, Maddox, we already knew that he had some safety flexibility there when we signed him. Wasn't that sure about with Rock. We just wanted to add more competition and depth as an outside corner, and then potentially special teams. Well, when Dan Jackson went down, we didn't have him, and then we kind of got a little thin at safety, and then Rock goes out there, and I thought he did a great job. I mean, it looks like he had been doing it a lot longer than he has. And so when you have that flexibility of a guy that can play both positions and contribute on special teams, it almost opens up a whole nother spot on your roster, really. Those are the signings that, I don't want to call them quiet signings, but obviously like the DJ Reeds get the big, obviously it's big contract, it's a great player, but it's those Maddoxes, it's those Rock Yassins, it's those Zach Cunninghams, it's those kind of quieter ones that you look back then it's like, okay, good, glad we got him. And now you look now, it's like, oh, really glad that we got him.
Defensive end wise, season was to start tomorrow, right now. How do you feel about the guys that are in that room?
Yep, feel really good, actually. Hutch, I don't think anything, I'm not sure what else can be said about him at this point. In Davenport, we've always said, I think he's the perfect complement to him. He has so much ability with his length, his strength, his power. He can get after the quarterback. I thought Muhammad had a really good camp. I mean, really good camp. I mean, I know he filled in for us last year when we brought him in and got him up and played it, but I thought he was even more productive in this camp. So that's really Muhammad. He's serving that role of kind of what you'd want as your third rusher right now, and then just getting Tyree Sweet, especially when Ahmed went down, getting Tyree Sweet. And the thing about Wheat is that he fit us because not all defensive ends are just like in a box. Like they're not all in a vacuum. They're not all just kind of running a hoop around. Like you got to rush with power, and that's what he can do. He can play heavy. He's got heavy hands. He can set edges, and he can win rushes with power. He can do some stuff, around the hoop as well, but that power element really kind of stood out to us, especially this preseason, and even looking at some of the snaps that he played last year. So I think he's going to be a good addition.